14.
Okay.
Sitting here writing things on paper instead of sticking the pencil into the air.
Love that. Read that again, please.
Yeah. Sitting here writing things on paper instead of sticking the pencil into the air.
Love that. You want to do another one?
Yes. The last one.
Oh, I love that one.
I
That
love
is
it.
so Buddhistic.
Come help flatten a raindrop.
Okay.
That's beautiful.
Wonderful. Snaps for Vijaya's performance. One is sitting here writing things on paper instead of sticking the pencil into the air. And the other is the last one, I believe, the
Yes,
last jail
last
poem.
one, yeah.
Come help flatten a raindrop. Okay, Kamara, let's go to Kamara first. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm thinking about the first couplet we read, sitting here writing things on paper instead of sticking the pencil into the air. And I'm more of a question, but I'm like wondering if there's like a judgment on either one, if there's like a tonal, if there's a rather. If the speaker or someone would rather be sticking the pencil into the air, or whether they're kind of content with the sitting here writing things on paper. And that's kind of the question that came to my mind in this reading.
That's very cool. I mean, Kaufman is clearly capable of transvaluation constantly so that you get something you think should be a priority or a preference has become equal, is what you're saying. I've never read it that way. I have always read it as, I am writing. And I'm not theorizing about, I'm not thinking about writing someday. I'm not just drafting in I'm actually just writing. And I think that Kaufman was all about just writing and not being pretentious about being a writer. So that's how I read it, but I really love the way you're equating those two. That's really cool. Okay, so let's go to Jake.
Yeah, I mean, what Kamara said is in my head. Like, is there a hierarchy here? What's preferable and what's not? And I'm also kind of just obsessed with what Erica said earlier about Anne Waldman, about like poetry that does something. So sticking pencil in the air as like a preferred state, like does that actually do something? It's not on paper, but it's it's doing something. Like, what does that mean? Is that mean to writing on air, like creating something that doesn't exist? Is it an oral poem? Right? It's also like could be seen as an aggressive act. Like you see somebody like poking pencil into the air, like and I think Kaufman has a special love for images that depict something that seems impossible, like flattening the raindrop or like using pencil on air, like these sort of impossibilities, semi-absurd but beautiful, and clearly like there is a sense like this means something.
So Erica, I want to just throw a monkey wrench in this and ask you a question. What is here refer to? Where is here, sitting here?
Part of me wants to be a little bit tongue-in-cheek and say it's the continuous present.
Well, it definitely is that. That would be the state of writing things on paper, yeah.
Yeah, but you know, I also think that it could be a location.
It could be a location. I mean, if I read 34, maybe it'll clarify things. The defective on the floor, a person who's referred to as a defective, the defective on the floor mumbling was once a man who shouted across tables. They're in jail. This is like a cellmate. I think here is jail. So I guess the question is, if it's jail and the continuous present, now what do we want to say about writing things on paper?
I can't help but feel, as though, and perhaps I'm reading everything through the lens of how much the Waldman means to me, but it feels like there's an urgency, like you need to write things down on paper. Yes. And it's a reference to jail poems. Yeah. Right? Because these poems were all written in jail, in various of his 156 stints in jail in San Francisco. Amazing. I mean, there should be 156 sections. Okay, let's go to Kate, and then we'll have Gabby pick another poem and go from there. Kate, your thoughts on Kaufman?
Well, I love these poems. I'm just realizing, looking at these last 4 segments, as I am, that I always imagine him in solitary confinement when I read these poems, and they often have a binary of like the solitary man writing in the moment, and then the person sticking their pencil in the air. I need to make a point, or this is more of a comment than a question, or the man who shouted across tables. I always think it often feels like the first line in the couplet is a contrast with the second, and the second is sort of external, extramural person, and he is. I think I always read him as the defective on the floor mumbling.
I love that whoever it is, be it another person or Bob himself, I love that person. 'Cause that person used to be ideological, used to be political, used to be involved in politics, used to be part of the Longshoremen's Union or whatever was going on. Kaufman was very involved in politics. But now that person doesn't get to do that. You know, this person has had the electric shock treatment or been hit on the head by San Francisco cops too many times, and is now, the politics has been drummed out of him, and that may be Bob Kaufman as well, sadly. Okay, great. That was pretty cool. Vijaya, thank you. Yay, Vijaya, for picking so well.